Warning! The following gameplay video was created by a scrub. If scrub gameplay disturbs you, stop the video now. Hello, and welcome back. I apologize for the delay. I've had some things that I need to work on in between this video and the previous one. And it looks like we have a boss to fight and some preparation to do. Not in that order.
Oh, hello. Well, you certainly are keeping at it. Myself, I'm fine. 2 things are required for sorcery. First, you must equip a wand. Second, you must attune a sorcery. Then you will be ready to fire away. Oh, and don't forget to aim.
Oh, yeah.
2 things are required.
I do forget to lock on a lot, so that might be necessary. So, it does indeed seem like I have enough intelligence to use a couple of spells. I don't expect to use this as my main game plan at all. In fact, I'm not even sure if I'm actually going to use this stuff more than a couple of times throughout the game. But souls are transient. Yes, they are. And I love this animation of trying to cast something if you don't have a spell. I just had to try it, and I appreciate the work they put into it. Well, let's get ourselves started. We got the flaming sword, we got the magic shield, and I just discovered something. Yeah. So switching away from a weapon gets rid of whatever you've put on it, which is not so great considering... Well, actually, there's a lot of not great things going on. Well, the situation in front of me is a chain of attacks that does not seem to end, which is not great for a slow, methodical control scheme where your movements have delays and such. So yeah, what I'd really like to do is have time to get a swing in to kill a dog, which I did, but it cost me quite a bit too much there. So let's talk a little bit about what I'm going through each time I approach here. First of all, I'm super nervous, of course, because I'm using a consumable and I'm gonna have to go and farm for stuff if I run out, which is kind of a pain. Ooh, I thought for sure that I'd be comboed into that. Well, it seems that blocking or otherwise trying to defend myself in that lower room is just not working. Yeah. Now, something that I'm not using right here, which I didn't notice until after this whole thing, is that when I'm not sure about what the boss can do or what their timings are, well, I'm already recording things. There's nothing stopping me from just pausing the recording, going to look at my footage so far, and rewatching it over and over until I get a better feel for the timing of everything. And yeah, I had to go grind some more to... Oh, yeah, that sounds about right. I dispute that you're not hollow considering how you look, but I mean, I've met a lot of hollows that don't talk at all, so who am I to argue? Anyway, I did my grinding against the knights near the first blacksmith that I discovered up in the parish. Well, I've had plenty of chances to fight the dogs and learn their behavior, which is very important for this. And probably should have rolled off the second I successfully took down one of the dogs. Wow, that timing. Now, Dark Souls kind of throws me off my game a lot. I haven't really gotten a feel for it yet, and for that reason I wasn't really thinking on my feet. Well, I have trouble thinking on my feet anyway. And yeah, that's not so great. Ooh, he punished my dodge roll pretty hard right there. It's okay. I've gotten kind of used to running towards the boss instead of fighting everything. Except that time. So at this point I considered just stopping for the day. And honestly, I really should have. Whew, that wall bounced, though. Anyway, so that was a pretty clear sign that fighting right in the corner there is not so great. I probably would have been able to pull it off if I was using my bandit knife, though. And in fact, that might have actually been a better choice. I was still hung up on the idea of using the kick equivalent where I attack and fall back at the same time. Because I figure, hey, I can kill a dog and get away from the other attacks. But there's just not enough room for that. Anyway, oops. I've decided that for videos where I'm just exploring, I can probably still do the live commentary, but anytime that I'm very likely to do the same content many times in a row, I should probably do post-commentary the way I am now. And here's where I discovered the first important thing, which is, against those side slashes, I actually do not take much stamina damage from blocking, even though I'm not bothering to put magic shield on. Ooh. Also, I should probably put some more distance ahead of me before I use an Estus Flask. Oh, I would have gotten away with it if he hadn't followed through with the full 3 slashes. Yeah. I hadn't really learned to read his attacks, and also that was, I think, the first time that I'd actually gotten rid of the dogs, so I was super nervous and not really thinking straight about what to do because, oh my god, what if I never kill the 2 dogs again? And then of course I have to do exactly that. However, it is the sort of thing that improves with practice. The reason it works is the dogs love to lunge at me from long distances, whereas the Capra demon really does not do that. Also, this is where I learned that I can actually stun the demon if I hit it enough with fire. Now, if I was thinking straight, I would have realized that, hey, that means that I should find an opportunity to reapply the fire buff after it runs out. Now, how would I do that? Well, I actually hadn't found a solution for that yet. However, that second drink, I discovered something very important there, which is I was mashing evade at that point. However, the game's buffering is, I'll call it generous. There are situations where it can hold on to a command that you inputted for a long time. And this has to have been on purpose to punish you for mashing buttons. So there are some commands that seem safer to mash than others. Like mashing evade is okay sometimes, but mashing the use item button, obviously very bad. Also, this is where I discovered that if I kill some enemies along the way, I can afford to buy a resin each time I go through. I don't actually know whether or not this is the efficient way to do it, but at this point I was getting desperate to just keep my streak of boss attempts going. I was afraid of disrupting my concentration or something, where I really should have just cooled down, maybe started playing again after a break, watched the video footage to learn the timing and boss attacks, and then gone at it with a better state of mind. I didn't do any of that, though. Now, I felt pretty good about that. Because, well, you've already seen the amount of trouble that the dogs cause for me. Another move that I liked there was letting my stamina recover between the enemy slashes. I think that was pretty good. Another thing that I would have noticed if I was more attentive was that the worst enemy attacks tend to happen when I'm fairly far away. Like that. Another thing that I should have noticed was that the enemy seems to have some trouble fighting while on an angle on the stairway. Even so. Now this is where I should have held the block button, because I knew at the time, well, or if I would have known if I was thinking, that the dash and evade roll has a delay on it, whereas blocking really doesn't. So if an enemy is attacking me while I'm down, or while I'm getting up, I should say, evading is a bad move. Whew, that must have been a big attack. I didn't see the startup, but the damage speaks for itself. Now here's where my play is a little bit better than before, because in a previous run I tried to fight the dog right there instead of going around the stairs another time. Also, yeah, turns out it doesn't matter how much stamina you have, that double overhead attack will get you anyway, and he did 3 times in a row. 4 times in a row. Wow. I wonder what would happen if someone asked the composer of this game to do just, you know, something cheerful or upbeat. It would probably sound something like this, actually. Huh. That actually threw me off a little bit. Like this fight right here. This is the perfect sort of thing for me to look at later. We have a really good long sequence of attacks with some clear indications of when these things start and stop and what the lead-ups are for each move. It also seems that my guard break animation dips a little bit too low for his follow attack to hit me. Oh, and that moment right there is something that should have broken the fight right open. Well, it would have if I had died right there anyway. For my next trick, I'll fight a Stygian Zinogre in a roughly Stygian Zinogre-sized room with a steady flow of Khonshu friends to help keep us company. Now, if I was able to refight bosses, and I kind of wish that I could, I would have... Well, actually, I'm going to save that conversation for later. I know that this is a shorter video than usual, but I used the homeward bone because at that point I didn't trust myself to be able to walk all the way back. I had severe recording nerves at that point. And I definitely want to use the souls that I picked up, of course. I considered doing that in the next recording, but I already knew what I was going to spend my time on, and unless my guess is wrong, this point of vitality only gives something like 22 health. Whereas I think the other gave something closer to 30. But, I'm gonna stick with my plan unless the amount of health I get per point diminishes rapidly. In which case, I'll figure something else out. I also kind of wish that I had enough souls for 2 level ups, but I can get that done easily enough. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll try to upload fairly regularly in the future, and we'll see if my new recording plan works out. See you later!